3, 2, 1, e frumos, da, bravo. We are here today with what BMW considers to be the future, or at least the future of urban mobility. Now, this isn't BMW's first electric scooter, but it's by far their best one. I've been riding this one around for a few hundred kilometers, which basically means a few charges, and this is what I think of it. Let's start with all the new exciting stuff first, all of the electrical things. Instead of quoting fuel tank size, now we're going to start quoting kilowatt hours. 8.9 kilowatt hours is what BMW has packed into the CE04. What that means for you is they claim 130 kilometer range. You're pretty much going to get between 110 and 120 in real life urban city riding. Sushi, fujin kasa. Real world testing, you're most probably going to get about 110, 120 kilometers on one charge. That is if you use the bike's eco mode. Eco mode isn't really what it sounds like. It's not a boring type of mode. If you put it on eco mode, you're going to have more fun accelerating at least than you've had on any other bike or most other bikes that you've ridden on.
you can't get tired of that instant acceleration. You just, no man. Oh, I love it.
The bike comes as standard with 3 different riding modes. You can pay to get another one, the dynamic one. What these riding modes do, apart from controlling ABS and traction control, are to set the amount of power the bike gives you when you apply the throttle, and also the regeneration. That is very important when you're riding in town. Eco mode gives you kind of low throttle response, lower power, but a lot of regen. So you can really stretch out your kilometers on eco mode.
This has got what I would consider pretty aggressive regeneration as well. So it's slowing down very fast, regenerating at max.
Road will give you high throttle response or high power, but a little bit less regen. You can actually feel it. There's also a rain mode for when it's obviously raining or slippery outside. You're going to get a low throttle response and also a low regen. And then there's your dynamic mode, which basically unlocks everything. Very high throttle input and very high regen as well. Now, the way the regen is set up on this bike, if you use the modes where it's enabled to a very high degree, it's basically like one pedal driving, if you compare it to cars. You basically don't need to use the brakes for most of the time. You're fine just letting go of the throttle. The bike will stop pretty fast. Charging, how does charging work on it? As standard, it comes with a standard AC cable. That's the one, depending on what country, what territory you buy it in, it will be one that will be able to fit into your normal home plug. That is the slow solution, but slow means from 0 to 100, about 4.5 hours of charging. If you're only riding it in an urban environment, if you're just commuting to work and back, 100 kilometers should pretty much suffice for most of us. If you don't have the opportunity to charge it at work, you don't have to drag along the charging cable with you. You can leave it at home. And 4.5 hours realistically means that you're going to be charging it overnight, and when you get up in the morning and go to work, it'll be fully charged. If you opt for the fast charging cable, and obviously you have the facilities to use it, that 4.5 hours from 0 to 100 will drop down to about 1.5 hours. But again, realistically, you're never going to really be at 0 on this bike. If you are at 0 kilometers range on this bike, then you're having a really bad day. Range anxiety, that's a big one. I thought it was going to be quite bad, but it actually wasn't, because riding it around town, 110 kilometers of range is really quite a lot. Now, if you stretch that out and you want to go on back roads, if you want to tackle highways, if you have to commute and go on a highway, the faster you go, I would say over 60 kilometers per hour, the battery is going to drop off so much faster than if you were to ride it just around town. If your daily commute is just in town, traffic light to traffic light, lane splitting, all of that, its range is more than plenty for you. If you have to commute and you have to do a stretch of 20-30 kilometers of highway at highway speeds, that range is going to drop off very quickly, and one of your options would be to take the charging cable with you and charge it while it's at work, or just ride slower. Next up, let's talk about power. 42 horsepower if you are to convert the kilowatts the engine puts out to horsepower. Doesn't sound like a lot, it's not a lot, but the way the CE04 delivers that is unlike any 42 horsepower motorcycle you've ever ridden before. That is because you get all of those Newton meters of beautiful, beautiful torque all the way from standstill.
This is not a public road, this is all 3D generated. We are stopped and let's go. Okay, that's that is a lot faster. I'm not allowed to own one of these, that's it. I have decided it's for my own health.
0 RPMs, you've got all of that torque, which basically means there's two great advantages to this for riding in an urban environment. One of them would be the fact that if you're first at a traffic light and you've got buses and lorries and trucks and other cars behind you, you can get so much faster away from them as a rider to actually, feel safe than you would on pretty much any other motorcycle. That huge release of power, that huge acceleration in the beginning will get you a lot quicker, a lot further than everybody behind you. Basically what every motorcyclist hates, having cars, vans, anything else behind you. And secondly, it's a lot of fun. You're not going to get bored of the acceleration on this bike. It's not one of those gimmicky things that its vanity will wear off, I don't know, 2 months down the line. I highly doubt it. I had a lot of fun on it, and if I owned this, I think I would have the same amount of fun every single day going to work and coming back home.
Can we do 60 until that speed bump? 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay. If I was to ride this bike to work every day, I would be an hour late every day because I would just keep doing stupid stuff because it's fun.
Or going shopping or doing whatever you want to do around town. The way the chassis on the CE04 is built, and I think the secret here, or the advantage of any electric, whether it's a vehicle or a motorcycle, is its center of gravity. These two things put together on this bike makes this scooter, because it is a scooter at the end of the day, that's its official definition, but it makes it fun even on twisties, even on back roads, where you wouldn't expect a scooter to actually be fun. The battery pack on this bike is basically as low as you can get it. If you take a look under the bike, you'll see it there. It's the huge metal thing with all of the fins on it. You can't get any lower than that. And the battery pack, being the heaviest part of the motorcycle, means its center of gravity is pretty much as low as you can get. This whole middle part of it here that looks very chunky and big, that's just open space, that's a storage compartment. And because all of that weight is so low down, what that means is that you can really easily throw it into a corner and then very quickly throw it into the next corner. And that just makes it fun when, I don't know, you're going out for a very short fun ride, or if you are lucky enough to ride 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers on some back roads to work and then get into traffic situations in the city. Those 10, 20 kilometers are going to be fun. Let's talk a little bit about the comfort on this bike, and this isn't really something that won me over at all. This seat looks like a wooden plank, and I think that's basically what it is. Some hard seats on other bikes, you can get used to them after about 20 minutes. You'll adjust, let's say. With this one, riding it around for, you know, a couple of 100 kilometers, I really wasn't able to make friends with it. Your butt becomes sore. The seating position on it as well is not, I don't know, it's not for me. My feet are way too forward. I keep wanting to put them more back, but there's no floorboard there to, you know, actually be a bit more comfortable. And I think my butt is also too low on it, so it creates this, I don't know, this triangle of just pure unhappiness. Not really a problem if you're riding it for half an hour every day going to work and then coming back. It would be a problem, especially for me, if I had to ride it for longer periods of time. But your mileage might vary. I'm 1.8, 511. It really depends on your height. So if you're interested in this bike, you have to try it out, test it out. There are some different options for seats. BMW has quite a large catalog on it. There's a comfort seat as well, where I think a pillion would be a lot more comfortable, you as well. There's also a larger windshield. That one doesn't really do much. It looks cool. I like that orange, but it doesn't do anything almost for wind protection. The larger one might obviously be a lot better. All right, let's talk a little bit about all the electronics that BMW has put on this bike, and the list is basically almost all of them, almost everything that BMW has made, apart from the radar cruise control. There's no cruise control, obviously. I don't see a reason for it if you're riding this in town. Starting with that beautiful, huge 10.25-inch TFT. That's also on the RT, it's on the Transcontinental. I think it's going to roll out to pretty much all of the BMW bikes. Great TFT, phone connectivity, Bluetooth connectivity as well. You can pair it with your headset as well. You can get navigation. You can also pair it with the BMW connected app.
46% battery left. That means 58 kilometers, and we are in eco mode. Eco mode is the not fun mode compared to dynamic. We'll test that out later. The way to start it is you would press any of the brakes, front brake here, rear brake there, and just press the start button like any normal bike. The screen layout will change. This new layout has actually got two different sliders. One on the right hand side is the power, what you're taking out of the battery and converting to power, and on the left hand side you've got charge, which is basically your regeneration.
All the fonts, all the colors, everything is very logically laid out, very Germanish laid out. Beautiful as well, but whatever information you need, you can very quickly glance at it and you know exactly where to look. With that BMW connected app that's on most of BMW's bikes nowadays as well, it's a very nice ecosystem, and it's quite a detailed app. The one downside that I do have on it, Sushi, it's not your turn now. I'll finish this and then you can do your one. The one downside or pet peeve that I have with BMW's implementation on this is their, I don't know, complete refusal to integrate Apple CarPlay and Google Auto on it. It just makes things so much easier and better and standardized, and just do it already, please. Standard ABS, standard traction control obviously come on the bike. As an optional, you can fit ABS Pro and Traction Control Pro, which will take the bike's lean angle into account as well. It's a great safety feature. If you do ride in all year round and you are in colder climates as well, there are heated seats, optional heated seats, heated grips as well, and there's a 12 volt, one of those BMW DIN sockets, 12 volt if you use heated gear as well, right in front there, so you can just plug it in. There's not really any place on the handlebars that you can mount your phone. That's a little bit of a downside. I guess BMW wants you to use the navigation on their connected app to see it on the big screen. Personally, I like to use Google Maps or Waze, so I want to see the phone. What they have done is made a little cubby hole there on the left hand side where you can just slide your phone in. It's got this spring mechanism, so it is large enough to fit even larger phones. It's got a cooling fan as well to keep your phone cool if you're riding in hotter climates. On paper, it's got wireless charging enabled on there, so it'll charge your phone. However, 3 different phones I have tried and I have not been able to get that working. So I don't know, maybe I'm just unlucky when it comes to wireless chargers. Who knows? There's also a reversing function, and that makes a whole lot of sense because you don't really need any other new technology to put into the bike. Just turn the flow of electrons the other way around. You basically just press a button and twist the throttle open. You'll go back very slowly, but it's a lot better than actually pushing it. This whole middle part of the bike here, this bulky looking thing, you might think it's full of electronics and everything. It's not. It's just one big storage space. Theoretically, you can fit a full face helmet in there. I wasn't able to fit my System 6, I think it is, my flip-up helmet. But if you have smaller ones, the type of ones that you use normally in town, those will fit in there properly. It's got a little light on the inside of the cubby hole, of the storage compartment, so you can see what's going on. And again, theoretically, if you don't carry a lot of stuff to work, just a laptop, and then when you come back home, you go and do a little bit of a shopping, you don't really need a backpack with you. I saw online there is an extra optional accessory that BMW sells you. It's a top case. It's a Vario top case from the GS, and it looks horrendous on the back of this bike. It's just, how could they do that? Design-wise, design language, let's call it, I think BMW personally has knocked it out of the park with this one, and I'll tell you why, and this is proper research. Out of every other motorcycle that I've ridden in my entire life, I have never been stopped and asked questions by people as much as I have been these past few days that I've been riding this. I had a guy on a scooter riding next to me, matching my speed, to ask me questions about this bike. That's never happened before. People at traffic lights, wherever you stop for shopping, and just everybody looks at it because it is interesting. And I guess it's one of the few bikes that that has retained its shape and its design from concept phase to production phase. This is basically the same as the concept models. I guess the proof is in the pudding. If people stop you and you get looks from everybody, then BMW's done their job. Design-wise, a few things I don't like about it, shortcomings, let's call it. The rear wheel is basically solid metal, black, absolutely no motifs on it. They could have done a bit more work there to make it a bit more interesting. I do think there are some stickers you can put on there, also from BMW, but you have to pay for them. I can't believe that's just not on there as standard, because right now it just looks like I don't know, like an old car wheel. It's bad. They've done something similar, like a little motif with the front plastic of the bike. Also something that it just looks cheap. It doesn't look like the rest of the package. And the problem with that is that you have to stare at it every time you get on the bike and ride it. That orange little tiny windshield, I love that. I love the look of that. And that plastic in front of it, or in front of me, that's just the opposite of that. I'm not a fan. Had a lot of talks with other riders, how should I call them, very passionate about the internal combustion engine riders in my little circle here, and pretty much all of them said, no, we don't want electric, nobody wants electric. And also, every time I do a video about electric bikes, everybody just, I don't know, switches off, watches Gordon Ramsay or something. Again, the proof is in the pudding. In Romania, in our market here, which is we're not a very rich country, if you want to buy a CE04 today and you pay today, you'll get it in about 6 to 8 months from now. These things are really flying off the shelves here. In conclusion, I think BMW has really knocked it out of the park here. I'm not going to say that is a cliche. They've done what they set out to do. They've designed something that attracts looks everywhere it goes. They've packed it full of electronics. They've told you it is mainly for urban riding, and that the range that they've put into it is really, it only applies if you ride in the city. The moment you take it over 60 kilometers per hour, it's going to drain a lot faster. By bringing this to market now, so highly spec'd up, and the way it looks, what they've done is basically made the Tesla of electric motorcycles. And we all know there's a huge difference driving a Tesla than a VW. Nobody wants to be the VW of electric motorcycles. Everybody wants to be the Tesla, and they've done it. So it's going to take quite a lot of work, and I think quite a lot of time for somebody else to come along and dethrone them from that. Personally, if I was to live in a huge city with a lot of traffic and I had to sit in a car all day long in traffic and I wasn't carrying a lot of stuff with me every day, this is fun and it would pretty much right now be my only option. Price-wise, starting at around 11,500 euros in our market, you can spec it up to, I don't know, 14.5, and you might think that it's expensive for a scooter, but I think its main competition is the T-Max, and the T-Max kind of retails for around the same price, 12.5, something like that. That's an ICE bike. It comes with a lot less kit than that, and it's a great seller. So I'm very curious to see in the next few years how many people change from that maxi scooter type T-Max to an electric one like this. All right, I think we're going to end it off here for today. If you've got any questions, the comment section below is the right place for you. I'll try to answer all of those there. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a huge thumbs up. That helps a lot. You can also subscribe and become one of our patrons to help us make more of these shows. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.